We are back for the Crew podcast. As you can tell, we've all dressed up for it.
Mm-hmm. We all remembered that this was today.
This is DP Seth Donnelly, producing extraordinaire Brett.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Koffenbarger.
Koffenbarger? Koffenboodle?
You've only known me 3 years, but whatever.
Dan Hurley, you had some intimate one-on-one time with him.
I did. I didn't realize it was a big deal, but I got to share some mushroom coffee. He made me a cup of joe while I was setting up in his office.
What is mushroom coffee?
It just tastes like coffee, but it's not coffee. I don't know. He told me all about it, but I was also like setting up the interview.
It's not like, what is it, psilocybin or whatever?
Psilocybin?
Psilocybin.
No, I wasn't tripping, which would have been interesting. But no, it's just, I don't know, some healthy version of coffee that is made out of mushrooms, and it was really good. And it was one of those where you could drink it like all day without getting like a coffee buzz or anything like that.
So Brett, in what ways were you stressing on this shoot?
Well, to kind of tie that in, the reason Seth was alone drinking coffee with Coach Hurley is because when we had planned to set up for this interview that morning, we got kicked out because Coach Hurley showed up early. We're setting up in his office, and he wanted the space to himself for his kind of morning routine. He's a guy who's big on routines and superstitions, and kind of the mushroom coffee plays into that. And so yeah, we got kicked out. So later in the day, Seth had to find some time to finish setup, and that's when he got some alone time with Coach Hurley.
Yeah, he walked in while I was setting the interview, and I was like, oh, do you mean to step out? And he's like, no, you're good. You want some coffee? I was like, oh. Because he kicked us out for an hour and a half, which was our full setup.
How did you find out you were getting kicked out?
We were just told that Coach Hurley showed up early and we needed to get out. So essentially we went from full setup mode, day of shoot, fully locked in, to waiting in a waiting room and
just chilling.
Just honestly chilling for about an hour and getting some Starbucks. So yeah.
It was not a relaxing chill session because I was just watching our day fall behind minute by minute. Just like,
yeah.
And we were concerned going into this shoot. Like originally we were going to be getting a lot of access. Then it was like we're getting no access, and then we were getting some access, and we never quite knew where stuff was going to net out. But between when we first started pursuing Hurley and then when we actually got to him, his prominence continued to grow.
Yeah, and that's hard to do when you're already the back-to-back national championship, the coach of the back-to-back national champion UConn Huskies.
He turned down a friend of the show.
Yes, he did. Jeannie Buss came reaching out, and
who turns down Jeannie Buss?
It was shocking. It was, so yeah, just some background. This interview looked like it was going to happen, and about midway through, we find out that the Lakers are pursuing Dan Hurley to be the franchise's next coach, which you kind of just assume you're going to take a job like that, and then, hey, our interview might be off now. And after, I guess, a week of kind of just speculation, he ended up staying put, and, the interview happened as planned. But yeah, we had a lot more to talk about, that's for sure. And you found out kind of a lot of good information just about their trip to Los Angeles and how much of a tough decision it really was for them.
It's never just one thing. That's why I never could understand when people see you struggling with like really hard decisions of what direction you want to go with your life. When you're a father or a husband or a leader of an organization, like the amount of lives that are impacted by the choices you make and how people could not understand publicly why it was such a hard decision, like it blew my mind.
What was kind of funny though was during the booking process when we were trying to get Hurley and this Lakers drama was going on, Alana, who was who on our team booked Hurley for us, was talking to me about some, tactics on how she could continue the dialogue. I'm like, why don't you just send the UConn guy the Jeannie Buss episode, because they wanted to see an episode of our show. And she comes back to me the next day like, I slept on that. I really don't think that's a good idea. And so, yeah, she was right. We ended up getting him. I thought one of my favorite parts of the shoot, I don't know about you guys, but was Hurley's wife,
100%.
Andrea.
Andrea was incredible.
Like, what stands out to you about her?
Dude, she's just funny as hell. we've never included a spouse interview as much as we did with hers. And like, I think we were all, like, I would go in the producer's room and be like, we have to use as much of her as possible. If you're Dan Hurley, you need an Andrea in your life to like keep you grounded, I guess.
And what was she saying to him? She said like, you are a glorified gym teacher. Get out of your bed.
Yeah. She doesn't pull any punches. Like, nobody's gonna die if basketball ends tomorrow. Like, nobody gives a it's a stupid game.
All you do is blow a whistle.
Yeah.
And I just say to him, like, you're a glorified gym teacher. You go in, you coach games. If there was no basketball on the planet, everybody would still survive. You don't perform surgery, you don't save lives, which doesn't go over well, because he usually goes crazy and starts yelling at me and tells me how big basketball is.
If you're somebody like that, where he's coddled by everybody, because of his success, you're going to have a lot of people who are afraid to say no to you, and then you have this wife who just does not give a.
Well, yeah, he needs someone to kind of check him, but then you also found out that she does everything for him. Yeah.
That's the other weird part, or the great contradiction there, because she really caters to him.
Financially, like, she runs all that, right?
She cleans his like underwear on site, doesn't she?
She brings a special device where she cleans it like in his hotel room without like using a cleaner. Like, she has her own thing that she travels with.
Because he will wear the same underwear for like days. Mm-hmm. How was practice?
Practice was awesome. Yeah, he's an intense guy.
Samson, now! Give him the ball to now! Go to work!
I wasn't there for a lot of the practice, right?
Neither was I. I was setting up the interview. So.
I was there for some of practice, but then I watched the stuff back on video, and I'm like, this guy is intense.
Soft ass. Everybody stares.
It was interesting because I thought, all right, we're about to bring, 3 cameras into his practice, which are normally private things. I thought he would maybe dial it back a little bit, and it was the opposite. And you could tell. You could absolutely tell that he's not satisfied. So, and to be honest, kind of bringing that back to the Lakers front, I don't know how well that would work in the NBA if he's yelling at LeBron James and Anthony Davis like he was in the practice that we witnessed.
Well, you made a good point in it. Like, what are you going to tell LeBron to go run stairs?
I mean, it seems like tough to pass up. I mean, on one hand, I understand the value of being in a place, staying there. You build this community around you, and what's the point of selling out for a few extra dollars when you're already making more money than you will ever need the rest of your life? On the other hand, with the NIL and how college sports has changed, not only as a head coach are you getting older, but all the kids staying the same age. Not much difference between that and the NBA, I guess. But now with money in it and the transfer portal, you're like on constantly. I mean, when you aren't coaching, you're recruiting.
You talk about the high demands of being a college coach, and you group that with the fact that Coach Hurley is someone who had a lot of health issues in the past too, kind of involved with stress-related things, which kind of led, to some mental health issues along the way.
The most amazing story I was told, which had not been out prior to this interview, was just the severity of some of the mental health challenges that were created in the past couple of years because of a back injury, right? It was a back.
It's a neck,
back,
spinal
okay.
cord, yeah.
And because of that, he thought he was going to have to quit coaching, possibly. He thought, I mean, I'm almost laughing saying this, but it's not funny. Like, he thought he might be dying because he could not figure out what was going on with him. And one of the doctors literally, like, his task for the day was like going into a CVS or Walgreens or whatever it was and just picking up something off the shelf by himself and taking it to the counter to check out. And he picks something up and then drops it on the ground and runs out. Yeah. Like, I remember Andrea telling me this, and I laughed because it literally sounds like a joke, but it was that bad. And so You know,
Well, it
'cause
must be
I'm-
rough to go through something like that and like nobody, including your spouse, like believes you.
right, like she, in her
She's very
Andrea
open about being
way
like,
was-
"There's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
Like you're fine." Yeah,
Right.
that'd be tough to go through.
But you give them a lot of credit for not only getting through it, but then sharing what they went through. Because if he can have mental health challenges, so can anybody.
Yeah, it's crazy to imagine big bad Dan Hurley in a CVS unable to check out. So that was revealing for sure. And you never know what people are going through in their own time.
It was to the point, and I thought he was bullshitting me, which I was getting annoyed at because, like I said, you're coaching in front of thousands of people, and now you can't drive a car. Like, this is getting insane. Like, snap out of it.
So yeah, there was a lot that he got into in this interview, to the point where his team mentioned to me afterwards, is like, he's never really talked about all this stuff.
Oh, really?
Opened up like this. There's no interview
Are
like
you
the one
making
that we
that
did.
up?
No, they said that. There's no interview to the depth of what we did in depth with Graham Bensinger. So
What's interesting is I've noticed a few people recently have said it was like therapy.
yeah,
And I'm
that has
like-
been a common theme.
I was really excited about that.
Yeah,
they're just an awesome family.
they catered dinner for us.
Yeah,
at
they
their house.
catered some Italian food.
Wait, and
for
you
us.
guys wouldn't even eat it?
Oh bull! I
Wait,
ate
who's
a
the-
ton of it.
Oh, you wouldn't eat it. Hey, Carlos wouldn't eat it. And I'm like, we got in the car, I'm like, and Mario wouldn't have it either. I'm like, what the f were you guys doing, guys? Well, okay, and Mario, I think, did not realize that they catered it for us.
We thought, a lot of us thought it was like
It was
leftover,
like
for something
their
else.
stuff that we were, they felt guilty not inviting us
Yeah.
to. But in reality, like, Andrea had this whole nice setup
And that-
catered for us.
And that doesn't happen.
I felt bad
often.
we didn't eat enough
Yeah.
of it,
I
actually.
ate
Yeah,
a lot.
Seth
Yeah.
and I did.
It was really good.
It
Well,
was
and
really good.
they're takeout extraordinaires there, because I remember you got a good laugh out of this in the interview when you asked why he chose the location of where they live. The number one reason he gave was takeout. Like, remember? Yeah, he said that he liked the location compared to the food places he liked. So
That was another funny thing was when their front yard, like when you stand out their front door and look out, it's like the most beautiful view in the world. And I told Andrea, I was like, that view's insane. She goes, yeah, I didn't notice it until like the third time I was here. 'Cause she like came and saw it, was in a hurry and left. And then she was like the day they were moving in and she like was walking back out to get boxes and she was like, oh, that's really pretty. It's like this insane view. I don't think we have a shot of it, but yeah, it was crazy. We might have a shot of it.
For Seth, for Mr.
Koppenbarger?
Koppenbüttel.
for me,
I'm Graham. Goodbye.